And in our first story, the Fijasi police in the Ashanti region have picked a 37-year-old woman for questioning following the death of a journalist with Kumasi-based Kesben television and radio station. Police say the suspect, a long-time girlfriend of the late Confidence K-Bar, was with the deceased several hours before he was found unconscious. Insure FM's Ohemin Teria joins us on the line with a lot more details on this particular issue. Ohemin, good morning to you, if you can hear me.
Good morning.
So what more can you tell us apart from what we've been hearing, particularly on social media?
Yes, police picked Florence Osei, also known as Efia Brago. She's described as a long-time girlfriend of the deceased Confidence Kojuba, and they spent the night together on Saturday before the gentleman passed away on Sunday morning at the Fijasi Government Hospital. And I must say that news of the sudden demise of the popular radio television who spread like wildfire on Sunday, drawing hundreds of curious residents to the station. And police say Brago and the man who has been, the disease has been a amorous relationship for about 8 years. And they spent the night on Saturday, so Sunday morning, when the woman claimed she left him about 4:30 a.m. for her house. So she told police that in the company of his uncle, when he was sick at home, from where they visited several drinking bars in Jabin and Fijasi. And Fijasi alone, for instance, Brago indicates he went to 3 different places before retiring to bed with the lead Confidence Ajay Eba. And she admits spending the night with the now deceased in her caution statement, but denied any wrongdoing. And according to her, she did not even have sex when she realized the man was weak, apparently from excessive drinking. So that is yet to be established by police investigation. And police say the suspect would remain in custody pending autopsy today. So they've arranged with the family and also liaising with the Confanoche Hospital, where pathologists will perform the autopsy on the lead Eric Confidence Kojuba, who was 32, Mama V.
Ohemin, we heard also that he had received some threatening text messages along with 2 of his colleagues because of the work that he apparently does. Is there any connection with his job?
Yes, for now, police will not admit that is a part of the reasons they are investigating the matter. But people or residents of Fijasi suspect the disease might have been poisoned. So police are investigating suspicion of food poisoning. And beyond that, even the issue of text messages and threats, I'm told, was reported way back in 2013. So it's not something that is current or something that happened yesterday or a few days ago. But police are not ruling out all these information, but they believe strongly that post-mortem report will be the turning point in this case. So beyond the post-mortem report, they will also, if there are calls for them to investigate stress and all that, they will also follow that. Don't forget, this issue of stress was first reported at the Kumasi Central Police Station, and the disease died in the Fijasi, which is miles away from the Kumasi Central Police Station. So that would be the cause of the investigation.
Ohemin, do we know who discovered his body? Was he unconscious, or did he die before he was even taken to the hospital?
Yes, according to the police, an aunt of the lead Confidence, Eric Kojuba, at that time, around 5 a.m., went to the door of the deceased to just saw him. He was leaving for morning service, morning church service. But unfortunately, the gentleman did not respond to the auntie's message. So it was at that point that the auntie went into his room only to find him in unconscious state with foams around the mouth. So that was when she raised alarm, and the lead Confidence was rushed to the Fijasi Government Hospital. But I'm told at the emergency unit, that is where he died a few minutes on arrival.
And Ohemin, do we know when his girlfriend is going to be taken to the courts?
For now, police will wait for the autopsy to be conducted, so they believe strongly whether to grant the lady bail outrightly, or what they call police inquiry bail, or to send her to the court. A lot will depend on the outcome of the autopsy. And if the autopsy delay probably did not come on today, police will be forced to send the suspect, Florence Osei, also known as Efia Brago, age 37, to the court.
All right. Ohime, we'll leave it here. Follow up with you definitely later on in the day. That's my colleague with Insura FM in Kumasi, Ohime Nteria, reporting there for us. Let's move to the Volta region now, where 8 trainee nurses have been electrocuted prior to the commissioning of a classroom complex at Ho Nursing Training School. The students were electrocuted while helping to reposition a canopy on the campus of the college ahead of the event. They fell unconscious, we're told, after the metal frame of the canopy they were repositioning came into contact with a live electric line. The students are currently receiving treatment at the Volta Regional Hospital in Ho. My colleague Mauli Yevuagbe joins me on the phone now with some more details to the story. Mauli, this is a rather very sad story. Do we know exactly when this happened?
This happened on Saturday towards the evening, in the dusk.
So all 8 are in the hospital?
Saturday, sorry.
Okay. Mauli, all 8 are in the hospital. Tell us about your condition.
All 8 are at the Volta Regional Hospital, where officials, government officials, and school management, during the event, they had to rush to the hospital and see what exactly their conditions were. And the health minister, who was also part of that group that visited them, gave a report to the gathering during the commissioning that they were in a stable condition, and they are responding to treatment. And so for now, we know that none of them, what we're hearing is that they all respond to treatment and they're all doing well. And the health minister also promised that government was going to pay all the bills of their medical treatment at the hospital.
So when was the commissioning supposed to have happened?
This commissioning happened on Saturday.
So it went ahead?
It went ahead. It
went
ahead after the initial hiccup with the electrocution of this 8 students of the Ho Nursing Training College. It delayed for a while, and so the commissioning itself entered the evening and ended somewhere around 7 p.m. That was the challenge. However, it went on unabated.
All right, Mauli, we'll leave it here. Thanks a lot for your time. That's my colleague in the Volta region, Mauli Yevuagbe. Moving on to other stories, rural women in the country who are into agriculture are calling on government to recognize the celebration of the International Day of the Rural Women, just as it recognizes and supports the celebration of the World Food Day in the country. According to them, the rights of rural women, food security and poverty are closely linked because a significant amount of food crops on our market are produced by rural women. The women made the call at Africa Leads Capacity Building Program for Rural Women at the World Rural Women's Day celebration at Asing Nyankumase in the Central Region, where Richard Kojo Nyako came through with this report.
In the country's rural setting, women toil to produce food to feed the family and reserve some for the market to earn some income to support the family. These women go through a lot of challenges, including how to negotiate for the use of their land, funding, land acquisition, and how their rights are trampled upon in the process. The leaders of the rural women in the country are calling on government not to over-concentrate on one cash crop, but also support farmers such as the rural women to improve food security because they feed the nation.
The Rural Farmers Day should be also celebrated to motivate, encourage our rural farmers, because we produce, we are into processing, we are into marketing, we are into packaging, and we form the larger number of farmers in this country. So if government wants to eradicate poverty, it wants to help us to be continual farming, our children also to continue farming, he has to do something for us so that our children will see that farming is lucrative. Farming is something when you get into it, you'll be recognized, not something as being punishment, not being neglected in this country. So this is the appeal that the policies, the things that government do for farmers, we don't benefit. We've never having any chance of getting a tractor services as rural farmer. We are into groups and formidable groups, but whenever they are giving anything, input or anything, it's given to new groups that are being formed. We don't know where they come from. So we want him to recognize the existing groups and the formidable groups who are working seriously to feed Ghanaian population.
The Africa Lead Project, one of the organizations that is building capacity for agricultural transformation, says it will continue to raise transformational leaders in Africa to spearhead the change in Africa's agriculture to promote food security. Supported by the USAID and the African Union, African Lead hopes to empower the rural woman and women in the field of agriculture with knowledge and what they need in order to succeed.
The whole idea is to raise transformational leaders who will spearhead change in Africa's agriculture. So we are working for the betterment of the whole African continent, and we are working on this project together with the African Union, with the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program. So it's geared towards transforming Africa's agricultural landscape. And one of the things we are doing is to train a lot of these women. An example is Gladys Edusa, the women's organizer of the Farmers Organization Network of Ghana. She is a champion, and we have empowered her, and she has gone to empower over 600 women. So the whole idea is to raise women champions who will go back to their various communities to empower other women. We also have another woman, Hajia Ibrahim Taimako in Tamale, who we trained as an Africa League champion. She has trained 53 women who have trained 5,000 women in their various communities in the northern region. And the whole idea is, as a rural woman, she is preparing the other women in her community to bring their girls who have come down to the south, like Accra and Kumasi, to be Kayaye, back to the north, because she's saying that there is agricultural opportunities for them back in the north. So these are some of the things we are doing. So we have no doubt that the women that we are raising are making impact in their various communities as well.
Let's do our final story now. Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, says his outfit is taking steps to liaise with the Electoral Commission to minimize any conflict or confrontation that may erupt during and after the December polls. This is, he says, is intended to strengthen the emotional backbone of the people so as to forestall any confrontation with the Electoral Commission or when the Electoral Commission declares the final results of the elections. Dr. Akwesi Osei made the statement at the climax of the World Mental Week celebration in Wa. Rafiq Salam has more.
Dr. Akwesi Osei said under the program, prayer camps and traditional healers would not be banned, but rather would be educated to professionally handle mental health patients who come to them for treatment.
In the next 3-4 years, the kind of mental health MVC will no longer be there. The prayer camps will not be banned anyway. The traditional healers camp will not be banned anyway. But they would have been trained to know that if anybody goes there, don't tell him or her that it is the neighbor who is causing it. As it is the threshold, why they go, what do you think is going to happen? They are going to cram down, they are going to descend heavily on the next door neighbor because she is the cause. Drag away, and the problem is still there.
According to him, the major challenge facing them is government's inability to pass the legislative instruments which will spell out the funding mechanism for the smooth implementation of the mental health bill.
If you are able to pass it, in fact, when, not if, when you pass the airline with the funding mechanism established, the levy, then all our issues will be solved. However, let me say that it's not to say that the day we pass it, the next day it will be solved. But it will give us the mechanism to begin to get the money, and then in due course, all these issues will be solved. So we are going through what we call a silent revolution to bring about much better mental health care.
On election 2016, Dr. Osei revealed they are taking steps to liaise with the Electoral Commission to strengthen the emotional backbone of the citizenry to avoid confrontations during and after the polls.
Failure and success can both trigger problems. So that whoever loses, because in every game there will be a winner, there will be a loser. Whoever loses, take it in good faith and don't let that trigger your emotions to lead to violence. Whoever wins, take it in good faith, be charitable with your jubilation so that you don't trigger somebody else's anger for it to lead to conflict. Because in the event of conflict, nobody is a loser, nobody is a winner. Well, nobody is a winner, we all losers. So that, I want to say, is a mental health issue. The authority is taking steps to see how you can liaise with the Electoral Commission on this matter and strengthen people's emotional backbone, emotional triggers, so that we don't have conflagration.
Rafiq Salam's report from WA.
And that will be it for the AM News.